Okay.
This is the testing, or this is the verified testing UX PM sync for March 9th, 2021. Hayana and I were just discussing what next steps are in the code quality diff MR design. And the design issue is wrapped up as of 13/10 today, yesterday really. Next steps are I will update the implementation issue with screenshots of the Figma design and a link to the Figma prototype as well for the front end folks. And then we can start breaking down that work. This full implementation is scheduled for 14/1. 13/11, the team is going to start with just adding to the header, which is the previous design we've worked through and one we know we're going to dump when we get this 14/1 issue in. But that's our iterative approach.
Yeah, and I just wanted to align with you, James. It's my approach for working on the design proposal. I saw that the other designers, they use the upload designs feature and then the comments happen in that area. I prefer to use just a link to Figma and have that as a source of truth, especially when we change so many small things in the UI, copy, etc. So I just wanted to align with you. If you're okay with moving forward, we continue with this approach and we just add like the screenshots or the image with the prototype to the final implementation issue. Are you fine with that?
Yep, that's fine for me. If that's going to be the fastest way for you, especially with your bifurcated isn't the right word because it's more stratified than that. With your varied workload, then yes, let's absolutely do what's most efficient for you.
I'm going to use that, a varied workload.
A varied workload.
That's what I'm going to tell.
Cool.
Awesome.
So then, otherwise, what you're working on, we have that clarify the dash icon, which that dash icon is something that we've inherited. I don't know that, do we need to change this? Like, where are we at with?
So I spoke with Pedro, and indeed, we have to change that, as in, we just have to give context on what that dash means. And we talked about, for example, adding a tooltip there just to explain the meaning of that. What is it, a vulnerability? What do we use it for? Because in other widgets, we also use to convey different meanings. Oh yeah, metrics, license compliance, browser performance. So what I aligned with Pedro was that we shouldn't look at what the other widgets are doing. We fix what we need to fix for testing. And then, yeah, the designers responsible for the other areas in the merge request widget or Pedro are going to do the other cleanup. And since we know what else, that we know also that we can use new status icons. There's the severity and the status here that are linked to the agenda, GitLab SVG. And we should probably, same thing as for code quality, those examples, we should see if we can reuse some of this, the iconography in other areas of the testing area. But then again, I'll prototype and then I'll work on the first pass with Pedro to see if it aligns. And in case we are the ones dictating what the UI should look like, the other designers, the other teams would potentially follow the UI pattern there and refine on merge request widget as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have a preference for metrics? Because, excuse me, because we don't have context. So if I'm looking at, I'm going to share my screen real quick. So we're looking at the same thing. So I'm not trying to describe what I'm looking at again. Which window is it? This guy. Okay, so we have these two, the metrics report, which we use the neutral icon because we don't have context of if it went up or down, because we're just doing a string comparison. So even if you see that the string is smaller, that's not necessarily a bad thing in context for the user. Like if it was how much memory is this taking up, maybe I want it to be smaller. So that's why my assumption is, because I don't believe I made the decision to say, hey, let's just use neutral here. So this one, we're never going to have a context of, did this get better or worse? And then browser performance, we might be able to look at and say, hey, this got better or worse, just assuming that smaller numbers are always better. And there's probably some nuance within that where bigger numbers might be better for some of those metrics, but we know what the metrics are.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get a this got better, this got worse context on browser performance. And it kind of looks like we already have that. Looking at the example, there's the X there for the transfer size one where the amount went up. So I'm thinking that that's already built into that widget. And we can continue to use neutral, or we can swap out that line for a different status icon from this set.
So exactly. If you open the other link where we talk about the severity, this one. I think we're gonna have to go with something that resembles or we reuse some of these icons.
Okay.
And then give context on hover or something, because that's another conversation I had with Pedro. If we add a different icon, we're gonna have to add to the icon set for GitLab SVG and go to the whole process of approval validating this icon. So what we talked about is that, for example, if the severity is low, right? I think we use the grayed out icon, the circle. The previous one, because this one, the one that has 2 rows of icons, is mostly for pipeline. So passed, failed.
Yep.
So, and this is to convey severity.
So we don't have a context of severity for the metrics report. So we could use severity unknown for all of them.
Yeah.
But then for the browser performance, we have either it got better, it got worse, or it stayed the same. And within that, like for everything that's getting worse, we could use severity. But what do we use for getting better?
Yeah.
So if my total score got better, I don't want to show you a severity because that's not a problem. I want to show you like a green check.
That's true.
Great work.
That's true.
It got better. So it's something to think about as we look at this. And I don't remember what we're using on our test summary MR widget, but we might be able to reuse some iconography from there that's already been approved for like the test now is passing or the test now is failing. I think we have a set of icons for that.
Yeah, we use the same ones, severity. We use the same ones today. They are being used for the pipeline. So pass, fail, so same iconography. I understand from Pedro that we want to move away from that. So we want to standardize. So the secure widgets, the testing widget, they're all going to show the same icon. So for example, use severity, but in different ways, giving a different context. So that's why in the conversation of code quality in the diff, that's why Pedro and Andy were talking about adding a label next to the icon saying, hey, this is a low or high severity. This adds or removes, my goodness, words. Issues from code quality.
Yeah.
But that's the things that we're going to have to contextualize in a different iteration. So that's why. But anyway, so let's work on the UI and let's put both versions. I think this is an easy mock-up, and then we just get some feedback from folks.
That sounds good. Yeah, we don't have to solve this right now.
Yeah.
Cool. And I have a coming up with Pedro, I think later this week or next week, and he and I can talk through some of that. We have the scale for code quality, but everything else, there's no real scale of severity. And it's more of a granular, did it go up, did it go down, did it stay the same? Yeah. So maybe we can work on some different icons there.
Awesome. And let me see, this is already my priority list, right? I think this is the next one. Oh, no, it's actually in the backlog. I think the next one is the visual indicator in a merge request that we talked about. Yeah, blocking the merge request for code coverage.
That'll be next. And then looking further ahead, swapping some stuff around in your backlog. I just moved the design for the project quality dash up ahead of the unit test report stuff. Because I think that we'll prioritize. Oh,
Can you share a screen? Because
I put
I'm
that
like,
in
which one?
14.0.
Which one?
Yeah, I'm changing my mind again.
It doesn't change. I think you are reordering, right? But yeah, I have to reload the page to see what has changed.
Yeah, I'm gonna undo my change anyway. So, yeah, I think that we'll stick with getting the UI for the unit test unit test report with screenshots, so that front end can move forward on that. And after that, it'll be that global dashboard view of quality, not global, the project level view of quality. That'll be the next ultimate feature that we introduce after the code quality inline stuff. So this priority stays the same. I'm not gonna screw around with it today. Sorry.
Okay. No worries.
I'm just really excited to get that new data view of 3 pieces in there and show them. I think that that'll be a great feature for us.
It's very fun to design as well.
Yeah. Well, and the MVC is in my mind, it is super simple, and I've started to open preview and just start to sketch it out 2 or 3 times. I'm like, nope, just wait, it'll get there. Just don't jump the gun.
Well, you can always do that. That really helps me visualize what's in your head. So whenever, if you feel inspired to work on some prototypes,
maybe this afternoon I'll bust the iPad out and the pencil and start to sketch it out. That way it doesn't at all look like any sort of real design. It's like, here's some doodles from the product manager.
By all means, please do that. I'm not the type of designer that will get offended if other people prototype or come up with proposals. Please do. We are all designers here.
I don't have anything else. I figured we'd just talk through what's on your priority list today. Anything else I can help with? Anything you're blocked on that I can help get you unblocked with from the testing side or verify overall?
Not so much this week. I have it's actually my FYI item here. I'm attending a conference tomorrow and Thursday, so I have limited capacity in general. It's a remote conference anyways, so I'm going to be in front of my computer, but I'll try to stay away from Slack for a couple of hours tomorrow. The only thing I would like to align is actually triple check, because we already spoke about this last week, is the system usability score issues and maybe the Q2 OKRs for us. Where is that issue? Because you already closed that, so I just want to circle back and talk about next steps. This one here. Ed, here.
Close this one.
Yeah.
No, that's Q1. Did I close it? Did I actually finish that task on Friday?
Yeah, was it Friday? March 5th, Friday.
Because we had those. We're Q2. All right. Trying to find the issue so I can find the issue that Jackie created that is linked to. And why would you share? I can see that there's one closed issue and one overall issue in this issue search.
This one here.
You linked it. Yeah, thank you. But then it would show it to me.
Like, I never close my tabs. Oh no, I never search for issues. I just leave I never delete my emails, and then I just go to my inbox and search for things there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the shared QR, which we're So I was looking for the Q2 planning issue that you and
Yeah.
Ricky and I were going through that I closed on Friday. And looking for that, and then that would link up to Jackie's issue that she started to make sure that I'd actually put our KRs that we'd gotten together
Okay.
into that list of hers.
So now it's the other link that I sent you now, the
Okay,
47.
thank you.
Sorry, yeah, now I see that I sent you the Q1 planning and not the Q2 before.
No worries. Yeah, okay, cool. So I put those in there. So I just kind of, it feels like I watered them down a little bit and made them very, very, very broad as far as key results go.
Mm-hmm.
I was, trying to get away from a punch list approach that we weren't real keen on. So I just tied key results into themes and went from there. But I think that if we're just going to support the shared SUS performance KR, we can do the same thing that we did in Q1 and say, great, we're going to do that. We're going to do that by working on not necessarily the issues that have been identified for us, but issues in widgets where we want to move our performance indicator, and that's all around PG-MAL. So we're going to focus there, even if it's not necessarily something that's been identified by other folks.
Yeah.
So we're going to apply the label to it, and we'll do it, but we're going to do it in service of how do we increase PG-MAL.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I think it's
cool.
Good. Some proactive improvements towards the usability of a product, and we have that epic, right, for usability, UI depth, UI polish, etc. So I think it makes sense that if you're working, for example, on, I don't know, the specific parts of the merge request widget, and then we are fixing these usability issues, if it's a quick win, schedule that and make everybody happy towards this shared KR. So I'm on board. And in terms of jobs to be done on the CMS research for a category, do you already have an idea of what's going to come up next?
So we're working on code quality in this milestone, or in this quarter. I'm hoping to get that done in Q1. I think it's going to be probably around usability testing and figuring out what's going on with visual review tools, and if there continues to be opportunity there or not. And if it's opportunity, we can move on with the current alignment of the team, or if we need to look into other ways of augmenting that category.
So you mentioned
feature development, acquisition, whatever it may be.
So you mentioned usability testing, and what else? Sorry?
I think just usability testing,
just
but
usability
specific to that, the visual review tools feature that we have.
Okay.
I mean, as a product person, that is a hugely impactful feature that I think that there's a ton of opportunity in it. The research that we want to do, or that I want to finish up in Q1, is around why don't people use it? Is it too hard to set up? Is it not as valuable as we think it is? Or are there just not that many users of it, or people who actually care about it, despite what they say?
Awesome.
So trying to work through that. I think that'll be the next category that we go dive into, though. I think we have a good sense of the other categories, where they're at and where the next things are to move them forward. But visual review tools is, as I think about what we want to be dog fooding, it's the next big one. And so that's like why we should go do the category research on it, or category maturity research on it, and the jobs to be done research on it.
How's your experience so far doing the CMS and working on jobs to be done independently? I know that
So part's been fine.
Yeah.
It's been good. It was tougher than I expected to get people to interview for the last round. I ended up using some developers, but some quality folks. Like, it was a very pool, and that was internal to GitLab to try to get the code testing and coverage maturity to move to viable. It's easier, I think, when we're recruiting externally, because they have that incentive. But I think that there's a mixed bag there, because you get folks who maybe aren't as familiar with GitLab, whereas our internal folks like live it, breathe it, use it all day. So you're going to get a ton of great feedback.
Awesome. Did you get around to using usability testing? I know that you had an issue open there to explore it. Did you
I have
push
not.
that back?
It
Not yet, huh?
is. I have definitely pushed that to the side because I'm
Mm,
focused on the code quality stuff right now.
yeah. I also haven't had the chance to work on it yet. So if you need me for something, I also need to learn a little bit about how to use the tool.
Oh, that's the usertesting.com.
Oh, user testing. Yes, user testing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you meant usability testing, the category.
No, no.
Same. Haven't dug in there.
Yeah, that's good. Because if you get to that point and we can learn together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So realigning priorities, I'll continue with things in the stack order. The one for quality in the diff, the merge request, good to go. So we can close that one issue. We'll update
I'll
the
take that as an
information.
action item today.
Thank you so much. And I'll jump to the visual indicator and the dash icon, since we already started discussion, and it's a small change that in a way relates to what we're doing for the overall cleanup of the merge request widget. That's going to be on my list for next week. Hopefully this Friday. Do I have calls? I don't have calls this Friday. I'll get
No meeting day.
yeah, no meeting, but I have my Japanese lesson on Fridays. So after my class, I'm like, I need a couple of hours.
Bet.
Yeah, I need a
Yeah.
couple of hours to get
Ooh.
back to my senses. Awesome.
Cool.
All right. I see you later. Thanks for the chat.
Have a good one. Yeah, cheers.